to get back out there today?
It's good to be back out. I saw a lot of energy, a lot of guys that were excited to practice. Anytime you go through a off-season conditioning program, I think the guys are anxious to see the work they put in kind of come to fruition on the field, and we definitely made some improvements again in the weight room, so it's good to get back out there with the ball flying around.
Wandale was saying today's practice was particularly tough for a day one. I mean, is that fair to say that you coaches expect way more out of him day one now as opposed to maybe last spring?
The tempo was really fast today. They got a lot of reps. I think the receivers in particular had to run a lot. We're still a little thin at a few positions, that being one of them, so those guys are going to get a lot of reps in spring. The practice definitely moved around faster than it has the first day of spring ball the first 2 years, and I think that's mostly to do with familiarity of what we're doing.
Is there any, have you made a decision on if McCaffrey would help you at receiver? Would he take any snaps out there?
We talked about Luke and his role. I think there may be a time to talk about something else for him down the road. Right now he's competing to be the quarterback. That's what he is in our eyes. So we want to give him every chance in the spring to do that. Come fall, if he's not the guy, then I'm sure there's some ways that we can use him.
Do you expect Green, can he do everything this spring? Is he a little bit limited? What sort of work do you expect him to get over there?
Adrian's a little limited. He had off-season shoulder surgery on his non-throwing shoulder. He's non-contact, but we're not going to be doing a lot of contact with our quarterbacks anyway, so just about everything, maybe short of goal line drills where we'd run the quarterback, we're going to be comfortable with him taking snaps.
Do you feel it'd be like a true competition?
Yeah, Sip, every position's a true competition, and quarterback's no different. Sometimes we treat those guys like they're in a glass case and you can't touch them, but we've always said we're going to play the best guy at every position. And Adrian's starting out, he's our quarterback, and he's going to get the ones at the beginning, but we're going to give some reps to Noah at the ones and some reps to Luke, and just like any other position, we're watching every snap they take and every rep they take. So we're gonna want the 22 best guys on the field at all times, and quarterback's no different.
Going back to what you said about familiarity, how are they building those habits that maybe show up in year 3 that are tough to really get nailed down going into a year 2?
I think just more repetition. Really, the secret to our success for a lot of years has been getting a ton of reps in practice and let that repetition build to where you can execute at a fast pace and execute at a high rate. Last year, we were putting a lot of stuff in, but I didn't think we executed it well enough at a high enough rate, and just our level of detail probably wasn't where we wanted it. So we're really going to dial it in on both sides of the ball this spring, make sure we're getting good at what we need to get good at. We can expand down the road, but the guys are going to get a lot of looks at our base stuff and things that they need to execute efficiently.
What are you experienced with Matt Lubick and his ability to hit the ground running?
Yeah, Matt's a good friend, also a really good coach. The level of organization on our offensive side of the ball is already substantially better. He's already making an impact. It's kind of hard to describe how, but some of the things we're doing, the way we're charting what we're doing, how many reps of each thing we're getting, making sure things are scripted the right way against the right looks, that we're running plays against every look we need to see it against so the guys can adjust, those types of things. We haven't been as dialed in on as I would have liked to have been, and he's definitely improved us in that area already.
That's a faster tempo and related to his getting in there and kind of organizing things.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the guys knowing what we're doing and maybe the organization. The guys did a good job today. We're going to have a kind of a focus every day, something that we're really trying to work on every day, and being in helmets only today, tempo was an easy choice for what we wanted to go with today. So we've even shortened down our wording on that a little bit to make sure that what we do, we can do really fast, and the guys knocked out of the park today.
Kept in touch with Matt over the years. When you're talking about new stuff, is he bringing entirely new concepts that fit within the offense? Is he tweaking things? Is it a little bit of both? What impact do you think he'll have in there?
Matt's fluent in our language and our offense because he's with me for a long time at Oregon. We have stayed in touch. We did a better job self-scouting this year than we have before, taking a look back at what we've done, what we did last year, things that we need to improve on, little tweaks and changes that we can make. Also had some time this offseason to study other people a little more and see if there's anything that we can add or adjust to how we're doing things to try to be a little bit better. So there's a few new concepts. More than anything, it's just us dialing in the detail and technique of things. And we're really going to work it hard this spring.
Scott, what drew you to Jonathan Rutledge in that special teams analyst role? And how do you handle that with him being an analyst, not a full-time coach?
Well, it was a big decision. There was a lot of guys that were interested in the job. We wanted to find the right guy. There was a bunch of good coaches. We wanted somebody that fit with kind of our culture on the coaching staff as well. Really like Rutt's pedigree, where he's been, the type of person he is being a family guy, and I think he's going to fit in real well. We're gonna try this. I didn't really want to burden someone like Coach Dawson with making sure our outside linebackers improved and running all 4 special teams. That's a heavy role. So I wanted somebody that could kind of do the X's and O's and schematics off the field for our special teams and really train our coaches to go out and implement it with our players. And it's going to save our position coaches a lot of time and have somebody that's entire time is dedicated to making our special teams better.
So are there specific assistants on the field who are tasked more than others with implementing that, or is it an across-the-board thing?
It's going to be across the board. We kind of assigned them for spring. I'm not sure if that's going to stay true to exactly how we assigned it come fall, but there's 3 or 4 coaches working with every special team. We're going to give one coach the lead role on every special team and let them run the meetings and drive it through to our players. Obviously with Rutt kind of helping them and explaining scheme to our coaches.
Can you help in particular with your kicking situation, and then what do you make of where you're at after some kickers who have left?
Yeah, that's a place, several places on the team where we need some new guys to come in. We're waiting on quite a few of our commits and recruits from last year to come in and give us depth and more talent at certain places. Certainly kicker's been an issue for a little bit around here, and we're not in the best place right now. I think Coach Rutledge has some ideas for how to address those things, and we're going to give the guys that are on campus a real good look and a great chance this spring and see if we need to make any changes from there.
Is that too terrible?
I worked with special teams. Doss has been a special teams coordinator. I know Chins has worked with special teams. It's hard to come up in coaching without having some role on special teams. Coach Beckton's done a lot of it. Coach Held has probably coached all of them. When you're at junior college, you have to do everything, including serving the beans at lunch. So we've all had some experience in it, and I think we're all excited. One of our focuses and emphasis to the team was, special teams potentially cost us 3 or 4 games last year. Could probably make an argument for more than that, but we definitely need to be better in that area. I think the kids look like they bought into that today, that the effort needs to change, the detail needs to change, and having one guy to drive it, I think, is going to help us. And all the coaches are on board too. We know how important it is, and we're going to make sure that we put in the time to be better at it.
How do you feel like you've improved as a coach in the last 2 years?
It's hard to say you've improved when you haven't won as many games as you want. But win or lose, there's always something that you can learn. I think more than individually any of us improving, it's probably improving as a group. I've always said there's a little bit different formula at every place that it takes to win, and I think we have the right idea of what the formula is, but it takes a while to implement it. And it's important in any organization, especially a football team, to make sure everybody's on the same page, everybody knows the objective, and everybody knows what their role is. And we're still evolving in that, but every day that goes by day, we're getting closer.
Few of your 85 scholarship players are sophomores or younger. A lot of walk-ons with that role too. And yet these are your guys. Do you feel like this is a young team, or do you feel like there's a lot of leaders, despite how old they might be, who can help this team along?
Yeah, I think one of the keys in this league is going to be to have a veteran team and get old and stay old. Having guys out on the field that have experience, that are physically ready to play in this league. It's hard to flip a roster and get there fast. But it's funny on our team. I think we're really young at certain positions. We're going to be this fall. And there's some other places where I feel we got a ton of experience and really good leadership. So one of the keys for us is going to have to have our leadership from some of the veteran guys we have at some positions carry over and help other positions too. It can't be a segmented team where we have veteran DBs, but they're not helping out the young linebackers, or we have veteran tight ends and they're not helping out the young receivers. We need our leadership to cross those boundaries and make sure that we're getting better all across the board.
Are those the two position groups you lean on, DBs and tight ends? Is there any other?
I think the O-line is going to return a lot of experience. Those guys look pretty sharp today. They know what they're doing. Particularly Hymas, Farniok, Cam Jurgens is going to be a lot better with the year under his belt. Hickson's played. Bo Wilson's been around a long time, so we have quite a bit of experience there. We're veteran at tight end. We don't have a senior quarterback, but those guys have been around and doing what we're asking them to do for a long time. So really, running back other than Mills, we're going to be young, and receiver, we're going to be pretty young. And we can get by with that as long as the leadership's good from the other places.
You do that. Look at that offensive line. You have all 5 starters back, but you want to kind of use some of those young guys and shake it up. I mean, what are the challenges of that this spring? Just trying to find that right combination.
Well, they're all going to get reps. That's one of the great things about the way we practice. Guys are going to get a lot of reps. It's going to shake itself out. We're going to play Matt Farniok at some guard. I know he can play tackle. We're going to see how he looks at guard some. Really, where he ends up is going to depend on whether a young tackle or a guard plays better, and we're going to get the best 5 on the field. The depth there is going to be better than we've had in a long time, assuming we stay healthy, and I'm anxious to watch that competition.
Sort of things, like if Ben Hart is one of the young players, what sort of things do you need to see from him this spring that would tell you he can handle it?
Bryce is probably like a lot of young guys. The talent was there. There's no doubt he had the ability to do it. It's kind of just waiting for him to cut it loose. There were several young guys out there today that I thought looked like completely different guys on the field in a good way. I haven't watched the tape yet, so that'll tell more, but I thought he had a really good first day, and several other young guys did as well.
Where do you start with the defensive line? Obviously, you have a lot of production and snaps to replace there, and what do you make of the way that group has been constructed now?
Yeah, that's another place. We got a couple old guys, and otherwise we're going to be playing a lot of new players. I think there's a ton of talent there. They just need to make sure they're focused and get it dialed in. A couple young guys were in the program last year that we have high hopes for. A couple new guys we've added. They got the right measurables, the right size, the right speed. We got to do a good job with coaches of getting them ready to replace the guys that we lost.
What have you seen over the last couple months, particularly from Adrian, as he has reviewed some of the things that happened to him health-wise and on the field last year?
I can't say a lot about it other than he seems like he's in a really good place right now. I've lived this. When a team struggles, the team struggles are the quarterback's struggles, and the quarterback struggles are the team struggles. And he cares as much as anybody on our team and wants to win as much as anybody on our team, so he takes that hard just like I would or just like you would. I can't say he seems like he's in a really good frame of mind right now, and thought all the quarterbacks, including Adrian, did a good job of going out and attacking it today.
Some of the defensive players up here were heaping praise on Jordan Riley. What are your impressions of him so far?
Yeah, Jordan, this is big picture thing, but a lot of guys stumble and make a mistake here or there in life, end up in a place you're not always thinking you're going to end up, and he certainly did that by ending up at a junior college. It's always rewarding if you give people kind of a second opportunity, a second chance, and they make the most of it. So Jordan's been doing everything right since he got here. He's got a bunch of ability. Was excited to see him out there today, and I hope he's one of the success stories where he gets his second chance at Nebraska and makes the most of it.
Scott, most of the players we had up here talked about toughness being a big mantra for this team. Would you say that's coaching led or player led, that mantra?
I think coaches need to demand toughness, but it better come out of the locker room or you're not really going to have a tough team. I was with a couple of my teammates this past weekend, and two of the toughest guys on our whole team. And guys like them didn't need anybody from the coaching office to tell them to be tough. That's just the way they were. They expected it of themselves and expected it of one another. And I think we've been getting better and better at that, and I saw more of it out there on the field today than I've seen in a while.
Do you have any guys ruled out for spring for injury or other reasons?
Yeah, there's a few. Henry Gray's going to be out with his shoulder. Isaac Gifford's going to be out with his shoulder for spring. Can't really think of anyone else that is definitely ruled out for spring. There's some other guys that are limited or going to be out temporarily.
How valuable was that redshirt season for that 2019 class? You know, most of those guys were able to sit out, and I guess how different are they looking as a group here so far?
I thought several of them looked different than they did last fall. Ramir Johnson ran harder than I'd seen him. Jamie Nance had a really good day, which was awesome to see. He looked confident and looked like he was out there to make plays instead of just out there to be a freshman. Thought Bryce looked good, Brant Banks, Farmer, Newsom. A lot of those guys are going to be guys that we're going to have to count on this year. And I'm leaving a lot out, but we're expecting a lot out of those guys, and I saw good things in one practice today.
We're moving forward to this image and likeness thing. How do you stay ahead of the curve before, so you're ready and prepared for the day when it does come?
You know, Nebraska's always been a leader and an innovator on a lot of things. I think the NIL decisions will benefit us greatly. There's very few places in the whole country where a player's name, image, likeness, personality can benefit them more than Nebraska, just because of the fan base, the excitement around here. I think Nebraska's been doing a great job with that. Football kind of took the lead on it. Jared Lambrecht, our DFO, kind of took the lead and got us ahead of the curve. I think Bill Moose and Garrett Classy have done a great job kind of following football's lead a little bit and trying to make sure that we're ready to be at the vanguard of that for the entire athletic department. I don't think I'm spilling the beans here, but I think there'll be a big announcement coming probably in the next week or so that'll help Nebraska position itself as one of the leaders in that area.
You make a big announcement now if you want.
Yeah, I'm not the guy to do that.
It's a ways out, Scott, with the red-white game. You know, that's been a big recruiting piece for you guys, having that be a sellout. Not a sellout yet. How important is it to get the red-white game this year sold out to kind of help recruiting again?
Yeah, it's important. I don't really have any doubt that our fans will fill the stadium by the time it's all said and done. We're going to have a bunch of recruits here just like we do every time for the spring game, every year. It's great to be able to tell them they'll get to see Memorial Stadium like it looks like on a Saturday in the fall, and that definitely helps us recruit. So we're looking forward to a packed house, and I have no doubt that Nebraska fans will do their part.
With fans and media outside the program, sometimes things that happen can be surprising to us. Were any of the departures this offseason, including JD's, a surprise to you? Like, was there something that happened that you didn't see coming, or was this something that you guys kind of understood might happen and have been working through much longer than maybe we realized?
Some of the departures were a little unexpected, but it's a team, and I got to focus on team success first, taking care of the guys. That's really all I do as a leader. I wouldn't call JD's a departure. We're keeping tabs on him and wish him the best while he's dealing with the things that he has to deal with. Hopefully we can get him back at some point. Some of the other departures, a couple of them were surprises, a couple of them weren't. But it's going to work itself out, and all that means is there's more opportunities for the guys that are still here and want to be playing for Nebraska.
How do you characterize the communication that you hope to have with JD between now and the end of the semester?
We're kind of just backing off right now and making sure that he's able to do the things that he needs to do. And I think there'll be a lot of dialogue down the road, but right now we just wish him the best.
Scott, what do you make of just Matt Lubick's challenge with JD not here, limited numbers at wide receiver at his position group, and what you saw of him at Oregon that makes you confident, that he can handle that?
Well, I thought he did a good job today. I thought there were some things the receivers did better today than I've seen since I've been in Nebraska. I know what kind of coach he is, and I know he's going to get guys ready. Obviously, there's some guys that we're thinking might be able to help us this year that aren't on campus yet. So we're going to have our work cut out for us as a staff to get some of the skill guys ready to play on offense. Trust some new guys to play. I think we went into today's practice with 4 scholarship receivers on the field. That's not near enough. So he's got his work cut out for him, but I trust him to get it done.
What is Hickman, or is he a guy you just don't put a label on, really? Chris Hickman.
Yeah, Hickman played receiver today. He's going to start outside for us. Think he has enough experience at tight end that if we need him, he can go in and be a second tight end and do those things too. His being in his second year of familiarity with the offense will certainly help with that, but we need him outside right now, and he had a good first day.
What can the spring do for a guy like Alante Brown, and what are your impressions of him?
Well, I've only gotten to see him one day. He caught a slant today and took it to the house, so it was a pretty sight. I think Alante's the type of guy that we want in this offense, a guy that can play inside receiver slot, play in the backfield if you need him. He's going to give us some versatility. So he's got a lot to learn and a long way to go, just like a lot of us. But I think the early signs are positive.
A lot about what a redshirt year can do for a young guy, but for a guy that transferred like Travis Vokalek, what sort of in the middle of his career, how much did he learn over that year, and what can he provide in a veteran group that maybe it didn't have before?
Guys get out of redshirt years kind of what they try to get out of them and what they put into them. There's some guys that put it in cruise control and don't get a lot out of it, and other guys that work to learn it and get better. I think Travis has improved since the day he got on campus. That's going to be a fun competition and battle at the tight end spot too. Austin and Jack are a little bit limited in spring ball, so Travis is going to get a lot of reps, but feel great about the shape we're in at that position with those 3 guys leading it.
Is there something, when you went back and did the self-scout, the numbers were sort of modest from that group. What is the key to the next step in terms of production? Maybe it's not the tight ends themselves, but what do you see in that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that went into that. We looked at that as coaches and trying to find ways to get the tight ends the ball a little bit more. That hasn't been a problem in our offense at all. Would have liked to seen them be more productive last year, but that wasn't necessarily due to scheme or the guys we had playing tight end. Sometimes it was situations, sometimes it was other people around the tight ends maybe not quite doing their job. So I expect that production will change this year with the guys that we have in that room now.
I don't think it's 2020, but is there a game or a scenario last year that might have looked differently if Matt Lubick were here?
I don't want to speculate on that. I'm just glad Matt's here.
Scott, as you enter your 3rd spring practice here, just kind of give us your perspective overall where this football program's headed.
We talked about that on the elevator ride up, and you guys got me afraid to come up and say we had a good practice. I know everybody wants to hear how practice went, and I was pleased today, but if I tell you guys it was our best first day ever, then a bunch of you are going to go place bets on us to win the next Super Bowl. I understand now why Coach Osborne was so mild-mannered, and most he would ever say about a player is he's going to be a pretty good player, and I kind of get that now. Nebraska fans, I love them. They're so excited about it, and if you say anything good about a player or a team, all of a sudden they're going to be the next Johnny Rodgers, and we're going to win the Big Ten. And we got a long way to go, but I was very pleased with the first day, and it was the best first day of spring we've had. But the first 2 seasons didn't go like we wanted, so we have a lot of work to do.